Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for the Nevers. Actually, the part one season finale of the Nevers. So this is season one, episode 6. True is what it's called. Before we get started, let me take care of some business first, then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you want to know when to be on live again next, you hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. And I have the links to this YouTube channel page, my Facebook page. And for those of you who still have Facebook, a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. Let's get to it, shall we? Spoiler alert, I am going to be spoiling the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Then you can come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. All right, we got it? Yes? All right. All right. Well, they pulled a dollhouse on us where we transferred to the future. And we see what the aftermath is in the future here with the Galanthi. And we now know the Galanthi are actually aliens, that the little balls of light were actually spores. And the spores are supposed to make, well, in the future, they're only making people smart or compassionate, is what's going on in the future. But in the past, in the 1890s there, in London, we're seeing they actually are giving people powers. So we meet the Planetary Defense Council Army, and we also meet the Free Life Army. So the Planetary Defense Council Army is actually trying to protect the Galanthi, and we also learned that Earth is pretty much fucked at this point, and the Galanthi are pretty much the only hope of reverting all the damage that had happened to Earth. And that the Free Life Army is hunting down the Galanthi and killing them because they think that the Galanthi are there to basically take over or something. They didn't really make that too clear. And we ended up, of course, meeting Stripe, yes, played by Claudia Black. And a Stripe is what they're called. That is the name of their job. For some reason, people in the Planetary Defense Council don't give up their names. We don't know why, other than what their jobs are. So if they're medical, they're called a knitter. If they are, I guess, a specialist, they're called a Stripe, and they have a tech person, all that kind of stuff. And we see that there's only one Galanthi left. I guess there was 20 at one point, and the Free Life people have been basically torturing it by taking the people that it had bonded with psychically and torturing the shit out of them over the top of it while keeping it contained in some field, in some, basically a well, if you will. And it's basically they had built a wormhole for the Galanthi, and we find out the wormhole is one way. It's leaving. So no Galanthi are coming in to help them. It's actually leaving is what's going to happen there. And the Stripe that Claudia Black that we end up seeing ends up basically killing herself, and as she's dying and the Galanthi is leaving, we see the Galanthi kind of wrap its ghost tentacles, I guess you could say, around her, and then cover her in some kind of spores, and then leaves, and we see it turn into a ship that we saw, in London, and take off. That's chapter 1, which of course is called Stripe. In chapter 2, Molly, we're introduced to Molly or Amelia, and before she became Mrs. True, and she's very timid, meek, and she's working in a bakery, and basically she's getting shit on in life is what's going on, and she's trying to make the best that she can out of her life, but she's very passive about things. And so she ends up getting married to the guy who owns the bakery shop that she was working in, which she ends up getting fired from too, because the woman who is running the bakery with this dude has a daughter that they want to bring in and work there. So basically she ends up getting married to this guy so that she can take care of his dying mother, is really what it comes down to. And then he dies, leaving her with a whole bunch of debts because he hasn't been paying anything. And the only thing that she has really, and she really doesn't even have that, is the flat that she's living in with the dead mother or the dying mother, because the mother, it's under the mother's name. So that's why she ended up killing herself. And yeah, we end up seeing in chapter 3, which is called "The Mad Woman in the Thames," the Thames, excuse me, that she ends up the woman that comes back out of the Thames is not the Molly that we saw before. It's actually the Stripe. The Stripe has been transferred into the body of Amalia True. And that's why we get a whole bunch of F bombs out of her, why she knows how to fight, and pretty much everything else in between there. I'm looking at my notes too. So, yeah, I had some notes here. And of course, Molly meets Sarah there. And it's good to note that at this point, Molly does not have an accent. She doesn't have her British accent. She's just got an Americanized accent, or really a Canadian accent, if you will. But it's mostly it's pretty much an American accent. And Molly at this point is thinking that it's a sim. I mean, the Stripe is thinking that it's a sim, and she is pretty perplexed about what the fuck's going on. And then she meets, of course, Dr. Cousins, and they discover that he's got a power. And then she's like, wait a minute, that's not right. The Galanthi don't give powers. They're either supposed to be smart. People are supposed to be smart or compassionate. And so she wants to find out more about what the hell's going on here. She also wants to get out of the asylum too, but shit's not working for her at this point. And she also meets Dr. Haig, of course, who's working for Miss Bidlow. And Dr. Haig, of course, wants to talk to both Sarah and Molly about who saw the lights. And he talks to Molly first, and Molly's like, "Well, I didn't see the lights. I just told her that because I wanted to humor her because she was crying." This is where the sellout that we saw, where she sold Sarah out, and she basically tells Sarah to tell Dr. Haig everything that you saw that night, basically screwing her and making her malady at this point. Yeah. So it's pretty fucked up is really what happened. Yeah. Um, and then of course we get a montage of her, getting her doughy body back into shape and everything, or getting that body into shape, helping the other touch that are coming into the asylum and getting put in the asylum, and meeting with Mrs. Bidlow after her first failed board meeting. She had a meeting with the executive board to see if she was going to get released, and of course, they found a stash of weapons underneath the floorboard of her bed while she was in this meeting, which of course precluded her not getting to leave. And she looks like she beat the shit out of the staff because she's all beaten up as well and in a padded room. And Mrs. Bidlow is basically, or Miss Bidlow, I should say, is essentially saying, well, you've been taking care of everyone here, all the touched, and basically making a bid for her to do this full time, get in charge of the orphanage there. Um, and of course, we see them move into move into the space that's going to become the orphanage, her and Dr. Cousins, because of course they are now a couple at this point. And we hear the first mention of Patience Adair, that she's going to go and meet, Patience. And of course, she doesn't realize what her name is. She goes Penance or something like that. And yeah, it's pretty funny actually. And then we have chapter 4, which comes in and she's called titled True. And we see what happened during their the raid that we knew that they were going on last episode to go and help the Galanthi that is that Mrs. Bidlow has been, or Miss Bidlow has been digging out from underneath London there. And we see that she ends up getting to it and talking to it. And she's basically saying, asking all these questions like, why the fuck? What's going on? We find out that this is the mission all the time. This was the mission that she was put on all this time, was that she keeps talking about, was to find the Galanthi and help the Galanthi. But the Galanthi won't talk to her at this point. And she's like, what the hell is going on? Why won't you help me? All this stuff. She's pouring herself out on this thing. And it looks like Galanthi basically just gives her all those, memories that she, or not the memories, all her visions all at once that she had of the future, even the ones she's already had before, and kind of piles them on. And then we find out she's not the only one that's come back. There's somebody else that has come back. We don't know who it is. We see her. So this is a new player that we've got at this point who is probably the enemy that they've been talking about. And she says, well, you're not going to remember any of this. We're going to wipe your mind out of this, is what basically this person has said. And Amalia falls down and then fights her way out of the mansion. And we go back to where we saw at the end of last episode, where both groups get together. And and also, she's already told Penance at this point that we see during the flashbacks that she had told Penance about the future, the war, the Galanthi, and all this kind of stuff. And at this point, they decide that they're going to tell everyone in the orphanage about the Galanthi, the future, the war that's coming, and that it's about that time because the war is coming. And that's where we leave off on this part one season finale, I guess you could say, or part one finale. However, there's supposed to be 6 more episodes. There's supposed to be 12 episodes in the first season, but they only, of course, were able to film 6 because of the, pandemic that we had going on. And so that's where we're at right now. So we got some questions answered, thankfully, but we also had a whole bunch more raised at this point. It was a good episode. I would have liked this to have come a little bit sooner, to tell you the truth. I don't like the it worked for Dollhouse because that was the final episode of Dollhouse of going into the future, because you had everything set up already and then what was going to happen. We didn't have that with this series. I mean, we had 5 episodes of stuff happening and we get hearing about a mission, but we never knew what the mission was. We don't know what the we didn't know about the Galanthi until last episode, really. We didn't have a name to it anyway. And yeah, I don't know. It could have been set up a little bit better, I think. It seemed a little sloppy on the handling of it. That's all. I mean, this has the potential to be a really good series. They just need to clean it up a little bit more, storytelling wise, I should say. Yeah, but otherwise, it was a good episode. It was a really good episode. Good to see Claudia Black back again, and yeah, it's it's always good to the future stuff. Yeah, we don't know what time it was. We don't know if it was near future or far future. We don't know what that was. We just know that it's the future. And yeah, that's all we got on that. So, hey, word 789. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got there. Hopefully we get some kind of word as to what's going to happen with the second half of the season, if they're going to actually be filming it, or I don't know. Yeah. Take a look at it. Word 789. Take a look at the first episode and tell me what you think. It's Joss Whedon's creation, whose I guess his real name is not Joss. It's what he picked as a name to. I don't know. That's what he used as a stage name, but since it's been using it for so long now, yeah, he's having. I already have word 789, but I'm here to talk about this show right now. So, what else do I have going on this week? Well, tomorrow I'm off. Tuesday is going to be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's going to be Love, Death, and Robots. Yes, season 2 of Love, Death, and Robots. I'm going to be doing that on Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm going to be off. Thursday, I'm going to be off because Thursday I'm going to Disneyland. Friday, I'll be back with Saturday Morning Blast Off, or excuse me, Saturday Morning Blast Off. Sorry about that. Friday, I'll be back with Star Wars The Bad Batch. There we go. A new episode of Star Wars The Bad Batch. Saturday will be Saturday Morning Blast Off. We'll take the genre news of the week and any genre stuff you guys want to talk about. We talk about it. And that's about as far as I got ahead on scheduling. We'll find out if I'm going to be putting anything else on Sunday. I know there's some stuff coming, but I was looking over at my book that I have my stuff written in, and not that I actually could see it because it's closed. So, so that's what's going on. All right. All right. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. And thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still basically on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up here at the very end. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below. And if you can, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you want to know when we'll be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there and all the links to social media and pages I have up there as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again on Tuesday. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may get pulled back in time to do a secret mission for an alien that we don't know what their purpose is to begin with. And yeah, who knows what the grand scheme of things is. Thanks, everybody. Again, I will see you on Tuesday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, and have a good night and a good Monday, too. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.